I'm going live on my YouTube channel as well, just so we can document this from all the different angles. We're officially live on my Vegan Tour Diaries channel as well. Here I am with Keno Mapp, a good dear friend of mine of 20 years. It's a awesome person. We've been great friends for years. We're kindred spirits in music and soulful stuff, peace and love and all good things.
Oh yeah, all that.
Yeah, so he's now on Shouting Fire. I'm on his show Artists for Real with Keno Mapp on the shoutingfire.com, which is that Burning Man radio. Yeah.
Shouting Fire is a part of Burning Man community. So you know how we like to throw out a lot of fire in the Burning Man community. So Shouting Fire is all about that, So just for you listeners out there, what's going down is Ira has, is it a YouTube channel?
Yes.
So Ira has a YouTube channel. What is it called?
Vegan Tour Diaries.
Vegan Tour Diaries. So this is the story, you guys. What's going down tonight? Ira is vegan, straight up, for many, many years, and he's tours the world, basically. I mean, I can't talk about all of the bands and situations I've seen this man encounter over the years, but he's definitely a road dog heart all the way through and through. But through his adventures of touring and being around, it doesn't matter how big the show is, he always has come up, personally I know as a friend, he's been challenged to find something to eat while he's out there on the road. It seemed like, a lot of the normal hospitality, the normal venues and concerts and tours, they have like a tunnel vision going on, and they believe that food and feeding everyone contained X, Y, and Z. And it seemed like they completely overlooked the fact that everyone doesn't eat that stuff.
Yeah.
Everyone just does not. So over the years, he's had his experiences from being hungry. Got to get on stage with a growling stomach. But throughout the time, he has learned quite a bit. So that's what he's here for tonight, to share his experiences and hopefully help you all out there navigate. Prepare yourselves from going out on the road or having a show, making sure basically you got something to eat.
Yeah.
It's very important. We all got to eat, So, that's what our show is about tonight here at Artists for Real. And so that's what Ira is here to let us know and give us some of his insight on, how to survive touring the world and being a vegan.
Yeah, well, it's funny, as you're speaking, I'm listening, it's like, your words are triggering all these experiences and all these things I've been through, in the millions, probably, as we've known each other almost 20 years. I've been vegan for 24 years. And so you've definitely seen me go through stuff just in our adventures, like when we traveled to NAM or, a few things that we've done together. We went to LA that one time to be on Playboy radio and stuff. I remember all that stuff a lot, you've seen me go through the full gamut of, trying to get something to eat, and I always try and be polite about it because, it can be very difficult at times, and sometimes, it gets on my nerves, and then other times I just have to remind myself to be patient, and that's what always ends up getting me through in the end. Because, people don't like when you're angry either. If you're yelling at someone's going to make you some food, that's really not the best thing either, because what are they going to do to the food behind the scenes too,
Exactly.
So that's always come to mind. But I will say that over the years, it has gotten better. So I kind of start there that luckily the world is finally starting to pay attention. But if I backtrack and go to the beginning, what happened for me is that first thing I had to learn how to cook, because when I first went vegan, I just basically always felt bad about eating animals. That's just, I'd eat something and I'd, like chicken or something, and I'd feel kind of strange about it. So I just got to the point where I'm like, wait a minute, I was trained to eat like this, and something in my gut, literally and metaphorically, is saying something isn't right here for you, So, I just decided, give it a try. Let me stop eating animal products, and that was the beginning of my journey. But instantly I knew, I discovered that I had to learn how to cook. So that's the first thing. If you go vegan, you better either know how to cook or start taking some classes on how to cook, because, generally you probably feed yourself more than going out, So, and with the internet nowadays, there's plenty of recipes you can search online. You can just search up vegan on YouTube or Google vegan recipes, and there's, literally millions of things that pop up. So for a vegan nowadays, it's a lot easier. That's for sure. Now, the ground that I tread coming up, I went to a restaurant, I remember a few times in the beginning, and I'd tell them I'm vegan. They're like, they didn't even know what it was. Like, vegetarian, sort of like, yeah. They're like, well, we have salad for you, and after a while I started to feel insulted almost, even though I like salad, but I'm like, okay, I see. Anyway, so long story short, the first step was you have to learn to cook for yourself. That's number one. And you can do that on the road as well a lot of times. So,
how do you do this? How do you do this on the road? Because some people that are asking some really specific questions, and to be serious, Black, I'm not able to really answer it because they're asking me questions just because I'm not a vegan. But I love to cook. I'm a cook. I'm a crazy. Give me a wok, give me a wok and some chopsticks, and I do amazing things. But give us some examples on how you handle it on the road.
Well, a lot of venues actually have kitchens. And now maybe not some of the lower level ones, or, like clubs and stuff like that. When you're playing theaters and stuff like that, they have kitchens and stuff. So, if they have someone that's catering, you can go back and talk to them. And you definitely want to start by having a rider, these are the accommodations that you're requesting before you show up to a venue. So you send out your rider, and it tells them what kind of equipment you want, or you're bringing your own equipment, and it tells them what kind of drinks you want, what kind of food, what kind of snacks. So, there's a lot of vegans nowadays, especially. So a lot of these places, you don't even really have to explain it as much. I would say, 80 to 90% of them actually know about veganism nowadays, because there's a lot of vegans. So just put it in your rider what you want. Request the things: veggie burgers, veggie plates.
But being over here in Germany right now, I'm not getting. I think these guys are still a little dated on this side, And that reminds me of when you were over in Poland last year. I think you had an incident while you were touring in Poland.
Yeah. Well, that was where the police picked me up for
for looking like Ira Black, right?
Polish paramilitary police. Literally, they were like, looked like a gang unit or terrorist, unit, and they pulled up in a van and just yanked me in and took me for a ride for about 30 minutes. So that was interesting, but that was just wrong place at the wrong time. That wasn't because I was vegan.
I was thinking the connection. We lost the connection.
You there? Yeah.
Oh, shoot. Yeah, I got you back.
Okay. Yeah. That wasn't because I'm vegan, I don't think.
Black. We're losing you, man. On that note, hey, I'm going to call you back, and I'm going to call you right back because I can't hear you.
All right.
So I'll come right back to you, Brother Black, and you can finish telling us about the Polish police officers.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm going to come right back to you. I'm going to get a song so we're not killing these guys with birds, and I'm right back to you.
Sounds great. All right. Bye.
All right.
Here we go. We're on pause for a minute. He's playing some music. I can elaborate a little bit on a few of those things. Actually, it's funny. I mean, he's saying that they're a little bit behind the times in Europe, but that's not my experience. I'm about ready to take my 33rd trip over to Europe. 32nd or 33rd. I can't remember. My band Dark Side Choir will be touring with Queensryche and Firewind. I leave in about 2.5 weeks on November 13th. I leave over to Germany. And honestly, Europe's been great about the veganism overall. Like I said, it's not 100% of the time, but, it's not ever 100% of the time. You request special things. You don't always get what you want. That's just the nature of touring anyways, So honestly, it's been pretty good in the last 10 years. People know what veganism is now. Even the first time I went to Europe in 96, they had health food stores, they had veggie burgers. And another thing I'm going to talk about is, they have the Mediterranean places, the falafel kebab places. They always have falafels there. So you can always survive off those places as well, because they have those in all the cities everywhere. and in terms of a lot of people know this story, but when I was on tour with I Am Morbid 2 years ago over in Europe, we arrived at a venue in Poland, and I had ripped my fingernail open up a pistachio. You know how they have the shell, and it ripped my nail open. It was literally bleeding. So I do get my nails manicured occasionally. And I thought, well, let me find a nail place and they can fix this for me, put some acrylic on it and cover it up, because it didn't really hurt. I was wounded, it was a pretty bad injury. And we'd be playing in a few hours. And so we arrived. They actually had some little snacks for me. So I had a quick little veggie plate snack and some hummus or something. And I found a nail salon around the corner, pretty much walkable. So I walked out of the venue. I hadn't been there for 30 minutes or so. I walk out the venue, and literally about 60 seconds into walking around the corner, a police van pulls over, opens up the door, and they say something to me in Polish. And I'm like, whoa, hold on. What's up? Do you speak English? And the guy just said, get in, and grabbed my shoulder and yanked me in. And, they're dressed in the paramilitary outfits. And I was like it was like something out of a movie. It happened so quick. I was kind of like, whoa, So they took me for a little ride. I kept asking what's going on. They pulled me in the back of the van, put me in a seat, and I was facing two guys, and there's two behind me, the driver and the passenger, and two in the back facing me, and it had me facing looking towards the rear of the van inside. And I kept asking what's going on, and they wouldn't answer me. They were sitting there with their guns and kind of just, blank stare. And luckily I had my phone and they didn't take that from me. So I quickly text my other guitar player, Bill Hudson. I said, hey, the police just picked me up. So they'd at least know what happened. And I figured, let me get that out before they take my phone away from me. Who knows what's going to happen here. So that was an interesting thing. Of course, it has nothing to do with being vegan, but Keno mentioned it. And, these are just some of the things that happen sometimes throughout travel. And I happen to not have my passport on me, which I never do that. I mean, I've been traveling for so long that I always know to keep it with me. For some reason, I didn't have it. I figured this place was right around the corner. I'd go there real quick. And, it was in my backpack. And so I didn't have my passport. They eventually ended up letting me go. I showed them the tour flyer. The funny thing I was talking about, I'm like, I'm from America. I'm on tour, and all this stuff. And then Bill calls me, Bill Hudson, who's from Brazil. He has a Brazilian accent, Portuguese accent. So I answer the phone. I'm like all excited. Like, I'm going to tell these guys, look, here's my guy. He speaks English. This is one of my touring members. And I click it on, and there's Bill. Hey, Ira, with his accent, Portuguese accent. What's going on, man? And I'm like, oh, great. Now they're going to be like, that. And now they think I'm lying. That now I'm probably a terrorist or something. But anyways, they questioned me a little bit, got all my information, and they could hear me talking with Bill. And I told them where I was playing. They knew the venue, and they just ended up bringing me back to the venue. They drove me back and let me go. And ended up being some good press stuff. I posted about it on Facebook, and it became a press article. A bunch of social media news groups picked it up and talked about it and stuff. So ended up being kind of a funny thing. I think the Polish tabloids picked it up. And then Bill was also playing with Udo Dirkschneider at the time. And he left a few days later after that it happened to go play a few shows with Udo in the middle of our tour. And he said that the other guitar player, Andy, I think his name is, had saw in Russia that they had a news bit on it on television about me being picked up. And I was like, wow, that's incredible. Sometimes, you get press from other things, and we'll also talk about that where I've got some press for being vegan. I got locked up in LA County jail for an unpaid fine, which, is a terrible thing in and of itself. I could probably write a book about that whole thing, but I ended up going on a hunger strike while I was in LA County jail because they didn't have vegan food. And that became a news article, a big thing in the press as well. So, sometimes, other things that you do in life become press, I guess. So there it is there. Waiting for Keno to contact me back on his, okay, let's see. Let's see what he says. When I cut to a song, I will hang up and text you when to call me back after song ends. Okay. So as soon as he texts me, I'll call him back. So it's cool. It's my first time. Welcome to my Vegan Tour Diaries YouTube channel. This is my first live stream on YouTube. So welcome everybody. You're popping my cherry, or yeah, you're popping my cherry, and I'm popping your cherry for Vegan Tour Diaries. Anyways, talk about the fact that I've been vegan for 24 years. In 1995, I decided to stop eating animal products. First, I actually became vegetarian. I was still eating cheese and some animal products. And then I decided 6 months later, after a fast, I read a book about fasting. So I fasted, and then I decided, hey, you know what? I'm going to give up all animal products, see what it's like. And I never went back. So here we're going back with Keno Mapp on Artists for Real on shoutingfire.com. Burning Man Radio.
Yeah, rocking out like crazy, man.
We're back with Keno.
Okay, Brother Black is back. What's going down, man?
Here, hold on. All right. Yeah, so I'm still live on my channel here, just talking a little bit about some of the stuff you were asking me about.
Whoa, we're double. It's so crazy, man. We're double channeling this. Right?
Yeah,
we're taking full advantage of the
tag teaming
technology.
Tag teaming the internet.
Yeah. Yo, hey, people out there, just let you know, this is Keno Mapp coming to you live from Berlin, Germany. Well, I'm sitting here in my living room, and Ira Black is sitting in his living room in Los Angeles. He's broadcasting over FaceTime, over YouTube, his YouTube channel, Vegan Tour Diaries.
Yep.
They can find it. Vegan Tour Diaries. You guys can log into YouTube, say hello, love up the channel, like it, love it, and also be sure to go to shoutingfire.com on Facebook and like it, love it, because we love you. So we are here. This is Keno Mapp here, Berlin, Germany, with Ira Black in Los Angeles. Artists for Real is the show tonight, and our topic is touring as a vegan, trying to help figure out how vegans can navigate through the music world while they're out on the road. And Ira is a vegan for many, many years, been touring for many, many years, and came across quite a few challenges, which now it seems like he's really overcome. Actually, it sounds like the environment has changed, where people are more conscious and caring about vegans than they were back in the day. But actually, with me being here in Berlin, it's not as strong as it is in LA, in California, I would say. So I think that it's normal, but hopefully we can get the rest of Europe to catch up. But Ira's going to give us some tips and tricks on how to survive as a vegan out there on the road. So give it to him, Ira.
Yeah, well, I would say, like I was saying, when you put the information in your writer and send it out to people, you should always get the word out. Here on the connection is, can you hear me?
And in the back up a little bit, let me explain what a writer is. Unfortunately, it's a very common term, but I have to really say, man, I dealt with a lot of professional musicians who've been out there for quite a while, and they call me and they're complaining. They're like, oh, Keno, I got a show tonight, and I have to go and change clothes and get ready. And the promoter pointed me to the bathroom and told me I needed to go in the bathroom, and that was my dressing room. And they were really frustrated. And when I asked them, well, did they submit a writer before? Wasn't that agreed upon? They first thing they said, what is a writer? So just to let you cats know out there, a writer is a basic term agreement that lays out everything that you expect. It's not anything extra. Of course, you expect to get paid. That's one part. It seems like the only part most artists focus on. How much money am I getting? And they neglect to understand that on top of that money, they need water, they need a dressing room, they need
towels.
Towels,
yeah.
X amount of, guests if it's appropriate. How many guests can you add to your list? Can your mom come, or is she going to get charged at the door? These other requirements. I feel like a lot of artists feel like it just comes with the booking. Yeah. So you guys should understand it doesn't just come with the booking. And promoters and venue owners, we have to love them, But you have to understand from their perspective, they want to put on a show. They want a sold-out show. They're focused on the show. They're focused on their bar tenders, their waitresses, their engineers, their security. They're focused on a ton of other things. And even though they love you up as being the talent coming into their venue, when showtime comes, they're not really thinking about it. So if you don't have it in your rider, you may find yourself in a challenging situation to enforce something that was never spoken about, which could be common for you, like water, or for a vegan, like a certain dish, but don't expect it. What I'm trying to say is if you don't have a rider, if it's not on paper, don't be offended if the venue owner tells you they ain't got no water and you got to go drink out of the bathroom sink. So
yeah, and that can be difficult. Sometimes you've had an 18-hour drive to the next show, and you're really counting on having that thing that you asked for, like especially when you're vegan and it's kind of a rare thing, so maybe that's a hard thing when you go to a lot of truck stops on the way and all these places you stop while you're traveling. That's the hardest time to be vegan because a lot of those places don't have vegan food. So when you arrive to the venue and you told them what you want ahead of time and they don't have it, or they just have like a tray of vegetables, there's some lettuce and some carrots and some broccoli, and you're like, hey, I appreciate that, but I want to eat some food, man. You're hungry. You can get grumpy sometimes. It's like, there's been times I just unloaded on people, and I end up saying I'm sorry. It's funny, you end up creating a connection with people a lot of times when you get mad at them, because then they go, oh my God, I offended this person, and they go out of their way they run to the store. What do you want? Anything you want. And then you come back, next thing you know, you're their best friend. They're showing up on your next tour when you're not even playing at their venue, at another venue, and they're bringing you vegan food because now they're like, so that's the one cool things about Europeans, that for sure, they really do love their artists, like, so they will go out of their way to help you, but sometimes you have to really prompt them a little bit so they understand.
Oh, shoot, we're losing the connection again. Okay, I got you back.
I can see you.
I got you back.
Okay, cool. Well, what part did you hear up until?
Oh, man, I heard you all the way up to how they loved you up.
Yeah. So Keno's in Berlin. This is great. He's in Berlin, and we're tag teaming the internet here. So it's sometimes the connection gets a little spotty, but
yeah. Hey, on that note, you're going to be here on November 11th or 7th?
Yeah, I fly in on the 13th. Well, I leave on the 13th. The time difference, so I land on the 14th in Hamburg. I'll be in Hamburg for 2 days rehearsing, and then we drive right over to Berlin for the 17th, I believe. Let me see, 14th, 15th. Yeah, on the 17th is our first show. My new band, Dark Sky Choir, will be touring with Firewind and Queensryche. And Firewind has the guitar player Gus G, who was playing with Ozzy Osbourne recently. Yeah, and Queensryche, which is an old-time favorite of mine. I became a fan of theirs when I heard their first record. I think it was 83 or 84. And, so it's, I played some festivals with them stuff before, and I know the guys a little bit, but it's going to be an honor this will be my first legitimate actual tour with them, and full European tour. Yeah. So it's going to be fun, and everyone's going to learn about what veganism is about on that tour. So
there you go. And the best part about it is that we get to hang out. So
I know, exactly.
That's so crazy. We haven't got to hang out in a while. So you get to come over to Berlin, and it's going to be a little bit crispy when you get here in November. Oh. But I think they'll have all of their Christmas lights up, and you know how they turn it into a winter wonderland over here. So yeah, we definitely are going to have some fun when you come in town.
I love it. I'm going to hook you up with some backstage passes, and yeah, hell yeah.
Oh, man, this is really awesome. I'm totally looking forward to it. Hey, man, on that note, I want to also drop some news about upcoming events in the Burning Man community. Awesome. There's a couple of things just to mention for you people out there in the Bay Area. My family, Valdemar Society, they are the most beautiful, twisted cabaret, stunning, fabulous people, artists that you can meet in the Bay Area. They have a tent. I don't know if you cats have noticed the big Italian circus tent that's downtown Oakland next to the Fox Theater. Well, that belongs to Valdemar Society. So go to ValdevereSociety.com, and on the December the 7th, we're going to have the 20th anniversary. And Angelo Moore from Fishbone, he's a part of Valdevere as well. So he's going to go in, and they're going to put together something amazing for you. So for the Bay Area peeps, check out ValdevereSociety.com. Get down to the 20th anniversary and show as much love to them as they have showed you for the last 20 years.
You got to go see that for sure.
Oh, yeah. It's just insane. I can't explain it. YouTube it. Do whatever you want to put Valdevere. V-A-U, second word D-E, last year V-I-R-E. Valdevere, and then society.com.
ValdevereSociety.com.
Valdevere Society, yeah. Be amazed, you know. And then other important things coming up in the Burning Man community. You got some deadlines for grants now. Okay, you got the Global Art Grant. Submissions are, the last day of submission is November the 13th. So that's coming right around the corner. And then you also have the temple proposal, which is coming up on the 21st of November. So for you artists out there that want to get a shot at building the temple, throw your ideals out there, get your art out there on the playa. You got till the 13th to submit for a grant for the global art. You got to the 21st for the temple proposal. So, you know, of course, go to Burning Man, go to the website, check it out for yourself, figure out what you have to do and make it happen. Okay? There's no excuse. This is all on you, and I'm giving you a little bit of information, a little heads up. You guys probably already know this is going on, but this is Keno Mapp at Artists for Real. I just want you guys to remember and not sleep through it and wake up the day after saying, oh no, I missed it and I got to wait a whole nother year. We don't want that to happen. And of course, this is Shouting Fire Radio. So if you go up to the top and you click on the schedule, you'll see all kind of amazing shows that is going on. I'm one of the only people that take up the airways with my voice. I think I have an okay voice, but at the same time, I know it's a different groove, but this is a community, and this is about making sure that we're supportive to one another. So I'm looking for which ways I can contribute, and I hope that these little sessions that I'm doing through Artists for Real can empower you and make you just basically know that you can do anything, as well as get you over any obstacles that may be out there. So on that note, hey, Mr. Black, I'm going to hit you right back. And I'm going to drop another tune here, and we'll be coming right back to you. This is Keno Mapp, Artists for Real. Berlin.
All right, so he's going to a song. So it's like a little behind the scenes, kind of get to be part of it, this interview, and then I can talk in between. So it's pretty cool stuff. I'll have to recap some of the stuff we talk about. Another interesting thing I was getting ready to go into, we kind of got cut off there, but I'll have to make sure I add this in. That's one cool thing you can do is go to Google Maps, wherever you're at in the entire world. You go on the internet, of course, and go to Google Maps or the maps on your iPhone or the internet for that matter. But when you go to the maps, type in the word vegan when you're approaching a city, and it will show you all the vegan restaurants or vegan places in that city. So if you arrive to the venue and they haven't got your food ready yet, or they missed it on the rider and they don't have your vegan food, your tour manager, if you're lucky enough to have one, hasn't advanced the show, or you advance a show and they said they have it, they don't have it, who knows? All kinds of stuff happen while you're on the road. That's the nature of touring. You have to be ready to roll with plan A, plan B, plan C, whatever. So I always have a list by going on the Google Maps and looking up the vegan restaurants, and I'll find a couple of the ones that look interesting to me, and I'll call ahead of time. Also, make sure they're open. Look at their times. It always usually lists their times that they're open right on the Google Maps app. When you click on the name and scroll down, it'll give you the phone number, the address, and give you the hours. If it doesn't have the hours, call them. Make sure they're open, because I've also left to go to a place and arrive. Took a $30, $40, $50 Uber ride, Euro ride, and arrived to a place and they were closed. So that can be a bummer too sometimes. So you got to make sure they're open. That's always a good plan of attack. So always have that other plans set up, plan A, B, and C, always ready to go. And then you can also, if you're touring in a vehicle that has a cooler, you put ice in it and have some stuff ready for you to go. And there's some vegan stuff. Or if you have a refrigerator on the bus you're touring in, I've done all the above, of course. And if you have a refrigerator and you stop off some different cities, sometimes you find a health food store, or you start to get used to some of the stuff that they carry in different countries that you can eat. So you start looking for that stuff in the stores, and then you can purchase them and carry them along with you as a backup plan. I do that as well. So when I'm touring in America, one really cool thing, and I'm going to bring this up when I talk with Keno as well, but I'm kind of preemptively letting you guys know here because we have a little downtime off the interview. What I like to do is see, a lot of times when you're touring in America, the Walmart chain lets trucks and buses and whatever you're traveling in park at Walmarts without being chased out or towed away. So a lot of times you wake up, you've been traveling on it, you wake up and you find yourself parked in a Walmart. Well, that's great because you can go into Walmart. They have a bathroom, so you can have usually a clean bathroom if you need one. And then Walmarts actually have quite a bit of vegan stuff now. And this is nationwide because they pretty much all carry the same stuff. They have everything from the Ben & Jerry's non-dairy ice cream to all the Amy's products. Morningstar has some vegan and vegetarian stuff. And of course, the Amy's has a lot of vegan and vegetarian items that are like frozen dinner type stuff. Everything from the vegan chicken nugget, simulated nuggets, to the vegan burritos, to the full meal. Has like enchilada with corn and rice and stuff like that. So you can always stock up on those, put them in the freezer if you're on a bus, or if you're in a van with a cooler. Throw some ice in there, and you can always put a couple of the vegan TV dinners in a bag and kind of, put it in the cooler with the edge of the bag hanging out to hold it up so it doesn't drop into ice that's melting, that kind of stuff, just to keep everything fresh and ready to go. Don't buy too many in advance because you end up in another Walmart within 1 to 3 days anyways. You end up at a lot of Walmarts on tour. So you can just, purchase for 1 to 3 days in advance, no problem. All right, we're going back to Keno here. So let me dial this up. Thanks for your patience, and thanks for tuning in and watching this. All right, here we go.
Artist for real.
Yes, we're back.
From Berlin, Germany. We're playing a little tag team with Mr. Ira Black here. And our topic for tonight is touring as a vegan. I'm here in Berlin. My brother Black is over there in LA. So we're still working out our technical thing, but we're doing it via FaceTime, which is pretty cool. So if you hear that familiar tone, dink, that's Ira calling me back. But on the same side, Ira's on the air in Los Angeles on his YouTube station, and your YouTube station is
Vegan Tour Diaries.
Vegan Tour Diaries. So you can log in there and you can see this handsome man up close and personal. You can't see me, but you can see him. So with this modern technology going down, we're sort of making it happen here on Shouty Fire Radio. This is Artist for Real. Keno Mapp coming to you live from Berlin with Ira Black over in LA. Hey, before we go on, I just got this little feeling like I need to say something, read something to you artists out there. I read it today, and of course, you guys know me. I'm all about the love and all about the inspiration and motivation. So I'm just going to read this to you all because maybe it's something you need to hear right now on your artist path. It says, to all musicians who are slowly giving up, don't. Just because someone is weighing you down or you think you're not worthy of the instrument, of playing your instrument, or your self-esteem is dragging you down, do not give up. Do not give up. It will be hard and it will take some time, practice, and dedication, but you will be where you want to be, and it all will be worth it. The only thing that you have to remember is don't give up. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to share that with you people. Just a little inspirational touch, because you know about me. I like to do a little heart touch every once in a while and remind everyone that, you know, regardless of how hard or any struggles that you may be going through, that we're all individually blessed in many, many different ways. And we need to embrace that blessing that we have. And if it's through our music, embrace it. And if it gets really hard, take it out on your music, man. Go ahead, take one of them guitars and just bash it up against the wall, set it on fire, do it all, you know. But don't give up and keep believing in yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. That's Keno. I hope you felt that touch. Okay, back here with Ira Black, and we're talking about touring as a vegan.
Hey, let me first say that's one of the things I love about you most. You know, if you know Keno, you know that he's a very compassionate, loving person, always putting out positive. I was actually a poet as well. I'll let my viewers know that too. You know, he's a poet. Keno and I actually did an album together and called World War Peace. You know, I played guitar on it, and he did a spoken word and poetry, and also his singing debut as well. We did some really cool songs, and Keno just writes from the heart, and really, you know, his message is very deep, more than most I've ever met, actually. So you're probably one of the most caring, loving people I've ever met. So I've always admired that. And, you know, he has a book out as well. What's the name of the book?
Senseless Murder.
Senseless Murder. That's right. And has his great writings and poetry in there. And just, you know, if you read his work, you'll get it instantly. You'll know where he's coming from. So it's all about, you know, love and peace and happiness and positive vibes. And so that was a great little thing you just said to people, you know, never giving up, you know, especially when you're an artist or a musician. I mean, you know, it's so hard out there, all the different avenues, from the business to the traveling to the food to and I know it's really cool what you're doing. You're really trying to help, you know, artists and people out there get a handle on what that's all about. You know, are there places to help you out with that? And you're actually providing a place for people to go to and say, hey, is this normal what I'm going through? And what are the solutions here? Because it can, you know, I mean, I've lost relationships, I've lost houses, I've lost instruments, I've lost friendships. You know, I've struggled and fought to keep my son in good, you know, a good relationship with my son over the years. As you know, you deal with the same stuff. You know, having some children yourself, and so yeah, you know, it's great what you're doing here, and I appreciate it. So it's just another evolutionary step of an extension of what it is you're about. So very cool.
Oh, thank you, Black man. You know, we try to do it, man. I figure that's the best we can do as artists. You know, as artists, it's all about not only, it's not a, maybe one side it looks eternal, but it's not. Our art is about expressing an outward and giving it to the world to try to their emotions in one way or another. So, you know, I'm always hoping to move the emotions on the positive side of the fence, you know, because there's so much negative. I mean, gosh, I don't even turn on the news, man. I just make me want to break my damn TV. You know, there's just so much stuff going down. So
I mean,
feel it as
it's interesting that I just thought about this, as we push forward with our music and our career, we try and get it out there. You're also having to deal with what's behind you, you know? So it's like, what kind of support or foundation do you have to actually do that? You know, a lot of times if you spend too much time backtracking, trying to fix everything while you're sitting out there in the world, you know, traveling, moving, trying to make stuff happen, be creative. And then all of a sudden all this real world stuff, as they say, is pulling at you from behind the scenes. Like, you know, and then you arrive somewhere and you're like, I just want to eat some food. You know, your girl's calling you up, you know, arguing with you. Where are you at? What are you doing? You're like, yeah, I'm having a blast. I've been driving for 12 hours. I'm putting, you know, it's like, no, it's like, I'm working my ass off here.
Yeah, this is what we were talking about last week. A lot of people, they think it's just so easy being a musician and everything. And there's a lot of fantasies and glorify it. And they don't get that it's hard work. It's really hard work to be a musician, and it's multi-leveled, you know. So I mean, this even starting this artist for real business, it actually got to me that, you know, all of the stuff that, you know, we have went through over the years, not just me. I mean, I get to witness just a saying, like you just trying to eat on the road. This is a challenge. It's a real life challenge. And when you put it into the spectrum of newcomers or people that have never went on a tour before, or young people that have that Hollywood fantasy dream of what the music is about, and they have absolutely no idea what they are getting themselves into. And like you said, a host of things that you've lost over the years and how to deal with it. Now we're on a level where we went through it, and we know what to expect in almost every facet of music. But it's been a learn as you go scenario. So I'm hoping with Artists for Real, we can bring these issues to the light, so like, really? Oh, I didn't know it was like that. I don't even know if I want to do music. After listening to Keno and I don't even think I want to do music. I think I want to be a ballerina or something.
Totally. Well, I'll tell you what I would suggest to anyone, and this would be with almost any aspect of what you're dealing with when it comes to music business. Like for me, we're talking about my food travels, my vegan tour diaries, So what I was kind of alluding to is I said when I arrive to a venue, if they don't have something that I need or want to eat, what I've come up with is a plan A, a plan B, and a plan C. So I think you should do that with everything, really, and sometimes they say, well, if you have a plan B, that means you're planning on failing. But that's not really the truth, because you're always going to hit roadblocks. That's just the nature of moving towards success. Succession, I always pull from the word succession. Success comes from succession. You keep going. So when you have a plan A, a plan B, and a plan C. So if I arrive somewhere and they don't have my food, well, I've already looked on my Maps app or Google Maps, and I search in the word vegan to each city I'm arriving to, and it shows me what vegan restaurants are around. So if they don't have food, so a lot of times you won't hear me say a word. I will just disappear, making sure that, I don't have sound check in the next few minutes or something. I check my schedule, make sure that's all good, but I'll jump in an Uber or jump on a train or jump in a taxi or walk down the street. I'll be gone in a snap of a finger looking for that vegan restaurant that I just found. And, I always make sure they're open. I check their hours. I'll call them, all that stuff, because you don't want to arrive somewhere and it's closed either, because that's happened to me before as well. So, but having those plan Bs and those plan Cs set up, and if there's no vegan restaurants, which actually most major cities around the world I've been to, you'd be surprised. When I'm in South America, in Buenos Aires, they have vegan restaurants. I'm like, wow. Everywhere in the world. I was in China, they had a vegan restaurant. I was in South Korea, I found vegan restaurants. So they're everywhere. Now, if it's it's Sunday, a lot of places are closed. What I like to do is, if I'm traveling in a bus and I have a fridge, when we stop off in a city, sometimes I'll find a health food store or a food chain store that I know has certain vegan items that I've been used to knowing that they have. And I'll buy 1 to 3 days worth of supplies of food, and I'll throw that in the refrigerator or the cooler. And so I'll have some vegan stuff on hand as well myself. So, because that's happened too. I arrived, they don't have vegan food for me, even though it was on the rider. They have no open vegan restaurants nearby or a place that I can, go to. And then, so I'll just have to resort to something in a refrigerator, and that gets me by, so.
Gotcha. A little preparation there. It definitely felt like it's not as easy as just pulling into Flying J's and being able to go and say, oh, with everybody else, and grab something to eat. So definitely, it sounds like not a lot of beforehand preparation, but it's just a matter. It's no different, I see it, than just recognizing, okay, well, what am I going to wear on stage on Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday?
Yeah.
And, putting the same thought pattern inside it. But what am I going to eat on Sunday when I get in this town if, everything in Europe damn near is closed on Sunday? So what am I going to do? I need to be prepared for that,
Totally. No, you have to get into tour mode for sure. And that's every aspect of your life. I always point out these little things that happen on tour, because it's just, if you're touring a lot and you understand these little things, I like to bring them up because they're kind of funny thing and it's kindred spirits. I'm like, if you got to make sure you put your toothbrush in the same place every time. You have a special spot for it, because if you don't put it there, you put it somewhere different this time. You put it in the small zipper part of your backpack this time instead of this other place you put it. All of a sudden you can't find it. Now you haven't brushed your teeth for 3 days. You're like, I can't find my toothbrush, and you're buying another one. and you're spending all this extra money over the small little stupid stuff. So every little thing you have in your life that you need on tour ends up you have it in a special spot that you put it every time. So you have to get into a new habit outside your regular life. You go on tour and you don't always have the same thing you had on the last tour. So sometimes you have to, you have to reset your brain. I've always seen guys on tour like run around looking for the stupidest thing. I can't find my brush, and we're on stage in 3 minutes. I need to brush my hair. And
that's funny, man. Well, actually, I mean, I can totally relate because one time I just got so damn tired of losing my car keys. I finally just said, Keno, put a little hookup on the wall, and whenever you walk in the door, hang those doggone keys up right there. And it became such a habit where if I walked past the door and did not see those keys hanging up, then I would freak out. I'll be running around. I would immediately stop and say, oh, shoot, did I just leave them in the door, or did I do something stupid? So that's really good to know.
And how simple was the solution, right? As soon as you did it, you're like, why didn't I do that 10 years ago?
Exactly. This reminds me of a story with 100 Years of Solitude, where the lady was the great-great-grandma. She was blind and deaf because she grew to be over 100 years old. So she was blind and deaf. But in the book, the kids, they would lose something. And she would hear them running around the house trying to find something. And as they would go further and further away from the house looking for something, and she would find it because she was living in the same house for over 100 years, and she was blind and deaf, but she knew where to find something.
Wow.
Where the new kids, they're out in the garden looking for it, talking about, where's my brush, like you just said,
That's great. That's excellent.
Funny, man.
So it's funny you mentioned Flying J a few minutes ago, and that's an American chain. They also have Love's, which is a similar truck stop gas station across America. They're all over the place. They have bathrooms. They have showers there. You can rent a shower for $10 or something like that. So when you're on the road, a lot of times you're traveling on a bus. You stop at these Flying J's and these Loves. You can take a shower and stuff. But unfortunately, these Flying J's and these Loves, and maybe I could do a campaign somehow somewhere along the way, but they don't carry vegan food there, which I'm surprised because it's such a large chain and veganism has become such a large trending thing in the world now. So what happens is another place that you end up stopping a lot on tour is Walmart's. The Walmart chain allows truckers and buses and stuff like that, touring parties, to park in their parking lots without getting towed or having to move. So a lot of times you're traveling all night, sleeping, you wake up and you jump out of the bus. Oh, and you're in a Walmart parking lot. Yeah. So, you're like, oh, okay. So you got a bathroom there, you go in. But the great thing I wanted to bring up is that Walmart chains all across America carry a lot of vegan products.
Oh, wow.
So every time I stop at a Walmart, I always make a point to at least go in and grab 1 to 3, sometimes 5 vegan items to store on the bus if I've run out, because I know if I arrive in the next city and they don't have something and I can't find a restaurant, there's my plan C. So, that becomes like a part of the ritual, so we end up in Walmart parking lot at least 3 to 5 times a week. That's just the way it is on tour. So I always go in and buy a few things. And every once in a while, they have Ben & Jerry's now is carrying the non-dairy vegan ice cream, which is, incredible. So Walmart carries that as well. So, I get to run in and grab some Ben & Jerry's non-dairy ice cream, and I'll be sitting out there in the summertime in the sun in the parking lot eating some, Ben & Jerry's,
wow.
So
hey, gotta love Ben & Jerry's.
How glamorous is that? In the parking lot at Walmart eating Ben & Jerry's. I'm like, well, at least it's vegan.
That's the life of a rock star, right? Everybody wants to be a rock star. We have like such a lovely life, hanging out at Walmart, eating Ben & Jerry's ice cream inside of the parking lot, But that's good to know, Walmart. So you guys got that out there, Walmart. I didn't even know. They got some vegan products that's going to carry you through, help you to the next station, or to the next show. So, hey, again, this is Keno Mapp coming to you live from Berlin, Germany. This is Artist for Real, and I'm here with the beautiful Mr. Ira Black, who's inside of Los Angeles, who's sitting on his YouTube channel, Vegan Tour Diaries. So we're going to come right back to you with a whole bunch of love. In the meantime, catch the next 2.
All right. All right. We're taking another break. Stand here. His show's a 2-hour show. I don't know if I'm going to be on for the whole 2 hours, but the way we talk and the way we have a chemistry together, we probably end up on here for the whole time. However, he wants me on there, I'll be on there for, because Keno's a great guy. Like I was saying, I'll reiterate, him and I did a record in the early 2000s called World War Peace. It's definitely a departure from what people normally know me as a metal guitar player. His album's a little more like poetry rock, I think he calls it. Of course, I add some rock to it, you know. There's a song called I Gotta Believe, or Believe, and is the name of the song. If you search up Keno Mapp and search Gotta Believe, I think is You Gotta Believe, I think that's the title. Anyways, that's a really cool song. It has a great rock vibe to it. Atma Nor, the awesome drummer who's, you know, played with a million bands from Journey to Terrence Trent D'Arby to Cacophony, Greg Howe, Tony McAlpine, Richie Kotzen. Great drummer who I played with for years. He played with me in Vicious Rumors as well. I brought him into the Keno Mapp project. So he played drums on that. My awesome friend, Doug Polhamus, also played bass on that record. Phenomenal bass player. And I think Juan Richardson might have played on that record too. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I think so. The guitar player also played on there. And we played a handful of live shows over the years. And Fishbone, saxophonist singer Angelo Moore is also on the record. And so is Durga McBroom, singer, sings with David Gilmour and Pink Floyd and all that stuff. She's an awesome singer and a great friend of mine who just sang on another record that I'm doing. Hip hop project I'm doing. She just sang on that recently. That'll be coming out soon as well. Anyways, Keno and I did this record, and we've done a lot of great stuff together. He was with the Punani Poets. I'll give you a little background history of his career as well. He was a poet with the Punani Poets, and it was him and 8 to 10 women that went around touring doing erotic poetry. Very cool. They were featured in Playgirl magazine, and that landed us on Playboy Radio. Keno and I went and did an interview down there. Then we ended up being recommended to do a movie that night. I wasn't living in LA then, but we came down to LA for the Playboy Radio interview, and then they recommended us to this production of this movie that was going on. So we went to this production studio, and we ended up being in this acting in this movie as a band. We performed in the movie, and then we came off the stage, and we had a scene with the legendary Fred Berry, who played Rerun on What's Happening. There's a bunch of other actors in there from a lot of 70s actors, that I remember growing up watching in different TV shows that were on, like Starsky and Hutch and stuff like that. And anyways, he's coming back to me here. I think the name of that movie was Compton 911 was the name of the movie. I never really saw if it came out or not. I think it was the last thing that Fred Berry filmed, because he died right after that, which was kind of a bummer. All right, so here we go. Coming back on with Keno Mapp with Burning Man Radio, which is shoutingfire.com, and his show's called Artists for Real.
High Street Studios tape recorded their album out of there, and actually I'm here with Ira Black in Los Angeles, and we recorded our album out of High Street Studios as well. They hosted a school of historical albums that came out of the Bay Area. Joan Baez, Fleetwood Mac, Jefferson Starship,
Carlos Santana,
gosh.
Joe Satriani, Fleetwood Mac.
Satriani, up in High Street Studios. Amazing, magical little place.
I recorded my solo album there, actually.
Yeah, that place is a lovely, man. I think it's a historical building now in San Francisco, So for those that want to really get a great sound, go to High Street Studios in San Francisco. Make sure you ask for Studio A, and they will hook you up and make sure that your album is something really beautiful. Besides the musical ghosts that are running around in that place, it definitely will add some lovely flavor to your album.
Don't forget about our friend Butch, who used to hang out there, man.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Butch. What a great guy he was.
Rest in peace, Butch. For you people that don't know out there, we have a good friend. His name is Butch, and he was basically a musical angel in the music community, someone that just came and shared his wisdom and would do anything for any band that was out there. He was a full-on support group, that a one-man support group that would cater and care for all of us. You know, sometimes we would be ashamed to ask him to do anything, but he would always be like, no, I'm going to do it. So that brings another topic up as far as roadies and people that are supportive to you and your music endeavors. You know, appreciate them very much because they don't have to do that. You know, and on top of it, it's so much needed in the music community to have people that are supportive to you with your music, not just buying your albums, but also supporting you going to a gig, getting into a gig, getting out of a gig. There's so many obstacles and things that come along with doing a show. A lot of times people are on the other side in the audience, and you don't understand on the backside of it. There's a lot of work and a lot of things going on that you just sometimes you can't even get from the stage to the front of the venue. And someone like Butch would come and he would see your face crumpled up, stressing a little bit, and he'll be like, "What's the matter? What do you need?" And he'll make it happen. You know, so if your mom's stuck outside and the security guard won't let her in, Butch will get her in. If he had to sneak her in. That's how Butch would roll. Butch will sneak your mom into the venue, even if the security guard didn't even think she was supposed to be there. You know, so yeah. Rest in peace, Butch. We love you so much, man.
Miss Butch very much.
Yeah, he's a beautiful soul, man. So hey, this is Keno Mapp here in Berlin, Germany. This is Artist Real, and I'm sitting up rapping with Ira Black. He's in LA. I hope you're safe. I know that you're in between two fires over there. So yeah. I send blessings to you and the family that the winds blow in the right direction and keep your home and everything safe over there. But we're over here chopping it up about how to be a vegan on the road touring and survive this lovely musical labyrinth, being a vegan. So share with us some more, man. You were talking earlier about Poland. I remember in Poland, if I remember, you put up a picture, man, and they weren't ready for you as a vegan. Is that true?
Well, what happened is that I had ripped my fingernail on a pistachio, trying to open up a pistachio nut, and I wanted to go to a nail salon to fix my nail because it was bleeding. You know, I play guitar. You know, it was my thumb. You know, it's like I need to fix this. You know. So we arrived at the venue, and then I literally walked out of the venue. We weren't there 30 minutes or less, and then a police vehicle picked me up. And I already kind of told the story on my YouTube channel here when we were off air, but long story short, you know, I was just at the wrong place at the wrong time. They weren't used to my look, and they kind of interrogated me a little bit. They ended up bringing me back to the venue, so it was about a little half an hour little jaunt of a trip we took. They pulled over and questioned me and all this stuff. I didn't have my passport. Always bring your passport. And I know that. I always do, but I'm like, the nail salon's right around the corner. I'll walk there real quick, get my nail fixed. Passport was in my backpack. I forgot it. But anyways, when I told the story on Facebook, it ended up becoming a news article on Blabbermouth, and all these, news articles picked it up, social media news groups. And all these people in Poland at the time, because it was news there, really, it picked up and ended up being in the tabloids there. Yeah. So a lot of people were hammering me for getting my nails done and that I was vegan and all this stuff, because I was in a death metal band at the time, and the people in Poland were just hammering me, and I started bantering back and forth in the comments. I don't normally do that. I'm like, screw it. I'm gonna get in this because they were saying all these super mean things. So I just so they were just like pounding me so hard. I was making memes of people and then sending them out real quick, like in response to them. And I made this meme of two Polish cops like kissing each other. And some of the Polish people just flipped out on me like, oh my God, but I was doing it all in fun, because, I laugh at that stuff. It was terrifying when it was happening, but like everything, you have to really have a sense of humor, a light. You have to be lighthearted about a lot of stuff when you're touring, because it's so easy to get caught up in how hard things can be. You know, you don't always get what you want. Things get messed up, and you can freak out every time, or you can just take it with a grain of salt and go, "This is part of touring." You know, you're not at home where everything's supposed to be, and you have your schedule and everything's goes according to plan most of the time. You're out in the middle of nowhere, you know, with very little support. So guess what? A lot of things are going to go wrong. Amps are going to blow. Equipment's going to get stolen. You're going to get lost. People aren't going to have the shit that you asked for. You won't have your food. You won't eat for 2 days for whatever reason because you're traveling. Sometimes we did a Russian tour. Man, we traveled the hardest I've ever traveled for 5 days straight, man. I mean, it was like, I never ran so hard. We got off stage and they're like, okay, you have to pack up in 30 minutes because we got to catch the midnight train to, and that's a 10-hour trip to Moscow. And then we got on it was like, what? We're all running. We get on the train and there's no internet, you know, and I didn't get to call my girl. Now we're on a 10-hour trip with the phone's dead, you know, and I got to Moscow. I finally called my girl. I'm like, do you hate me? Did you break up with me? Is everything all right? You know, like, because that's the way it is now is you're so in touch with everyone. If someone calls you and if they can't reach you, you're like, oh my God, you know, so it was just such a nonstop go thing. And you get put in these situations. And next thing I know, like, wow, I haven't even eaten 24 hours because I didn't have a chance to even actually do it. We arrived, did sound check, and we had to go to the hotel real quick. And we came back after a half an hour nap because we didn't sleep for 2 days. And then we hit the stage and then we're hitting the train in half an hour, you know, boom, 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 you know, so.
Madness. So how do you deal with that, man? What kind of tips can you give people with keeping your spirit in control where you're only biting off 20 people's head instead of 100 people's heads?
Well, like I said, the plan A, B, and C, that really helps. Well, here's my plan D. I also put together my own snacks before I leave. People always wonder why, because sometimes I bring a lot of extra stuff. Like I'll make my own trail mix. I make my own Oriental mix, and I put cashews in it and extra stuff to really make it nice. You know, and I'll have 2 huge quart size, you know, baggies of it, you know, and I'll put it in my backpack. They're like, why? You can buy this on the road. Why you bring it with you? I'm like, you never know when you need this. So I just have my own stash of snacks that can get me by as well, you know. So if we're traveling hard for a couple days and all of a sudden I'm not not having the opportunity to eat, all of a sudden I have my own snacks as well. And because let's admit right now that food is such a big part of our life that if you don't have it, a lot of times you don't realize, like sometimes you're feeling grumpy and a lot of times you just need to eat. You know, that Snickers commercial, they got Joe Pesci yelling at someone, and hey man, you know, and then they give a Snickers, you know, and they call it hangry. When you're hungry and you're angry, you're hangry. You know, so when you get that snack on, all of a sudden, you know, if you haven't eaten for 24 hours, trust me, the one little thing will set you off, you know.
Connection is cutting. Sorry, people. We're doing the whole intercontinental communication piece for a little bit.
Yeah. I can see you. Sort of hear you.
Y'all can't see me. If you go to Vegan Poor Diaries on YouTube, you'll be able to see at the same time. But this is because, you know, he's giving us a lot of information out there, and I hope you guys are really challenging it is to be on the road. You know? It is not easy. I know from the everyone gets to see the difference in the action. Give you guys a little bit more insight as to what's going on behind the scenes, and it's just something that is you can I think appreciate artists that you see touring a lot more from listening to us, instead of seeing the pretty lights, stage, and everything. And how much it may have taken to get on the stage, you know, and still perform. Which is a hell of, you know, getting to the venue, getting on stage, and then performing and being able to give an audience a full show at the top of our abilities. Because every time I can tell you, when we get on stage, we're going to give it to you. You know, it doesn't matter if we didn't eat it. It doesn't matter if we didn't sleep. We are definitely going to give it to you. And you will never know all of the things that we went through before we got on that stage. So when you, next time you at a concert or something and you see a musician out there and you get next to him, give him a big hug. Why not? Just give them a big hug and say thank you very much for coming. In fact, bring them some cashews. Bring them a bag of food because you don't even know if they had a chance to eat, right?
Hey, I'll tell you what, after years of touring, this would be my plan E, okay? So you got plans all the way down the way. I have a lot of great friends all over the world, especially in Europe. I'll give a shout out to one guy, Dries de Berg. Awesome guy. He's out of Belgium, and he will cook me a 10-course vegan meal. I mean, he goes so overboard. I tell him, hey man, calm down. You're making me fat. But he'll cook a home cooked meal that fills up a whole table just for me. And he'll show up anytime I'm in the vicinity where he's playing. He just wants to, get me backstage. Let me hang out with you because I want to see. I love you. I want to hang out with you guys. Dude, he'll bring me this awesome vegan layout every time. And, and I have a handful of people in Europe that do that when I'm playing in certain areas. Like, I know you're coming. I'm going to show up and I'm going to bring you a bunch of stuff. So, so I, after having done this for so long, I'm fortunate enough to have all these things come together to actually really make it quite comfortable. Like the last handful of tours I've done have been so awesome between the technology of veganism getting better and the word getting spread. And it's really starting to trend now, actually. I mean, teenagers are now becoming vegan everywhere. So, when the teenagers like it, it's a trend. And then because, all the systems out there know that if a teenager likes something, they can make money with it. So veganism is really exploding. When I was in England, I've never seen vegan trending so hard. I mean, I have to cross-check this, but I heard from a few people that the government in England now actually has mandated that restaurants have to have a vegan section in their menu.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it is trending in England. There's vegan restaurants everywhere, and regular restaurants have a vegan section in their menu now everywhere. I saw a red double-decker English bus that they drive everywhere. It had a huge banner on the side, and this bus was called the Vegan and Tea Tour. So you could ride this bus, have tea, and have vegan food while you drive around London.
Vegan and tea.
Yeah. So I'm like,
vegan tea and crumpets.
Vegan crumpets and tea.
That's dynamite. Hey man, give us another thing about your coming out here with the band. Shout it out, man. Let the people know where you're going to be, so they can definitely come out and catch you and bring you some good vegan food.
Well, you said something a little bit earlier, and I wanted to segue that first, and then I'll go into that because this whole Vegan Tour Diaries, we keep saying that's my YouTube channel. I decided on the last tour I just did this summer with Dark Side Choir, we did our own tour in Europe. We did 20 shows in 25 days. And I decided to document, I got a selfie stick, and I decided to document me going to vegan restaurants and, what it's like to be vegan on the road. So I'm like, let me show, let me film this so I can almost see it myself. Because a lot of times you see it through your own eyes, you don't get to see it in the, it's like, it's an experience versus getting to watch it, So I'm like, let me make this series. So I filmed myself going to 13 different places. And I film myself with a selfie stick, and I do like a review at a vegan restaurant or a place that has vegan food. So I have 13 episodes worth of footage that I shot. I've already did the editing for 2 of the episodes, which are already uploaded on Vegan Tour Diaries. They're each one of them is 13 minutes. That's kind of what I'm shooting for, like a 13-minute episode at this point. Just that's kind of where both of them hit. So I'm like, I'll shoot for that. So I have 11 more episodes already filmed that I'm editing now. I'm going to do one at a time, obviously, and I'll be uploading them every 1 to 2 weeks. And then I'm doing an upcoming tour. I leave in 2.5 weeks on November 13th to Europe. I'll be touring with my new band, Dark Sky Choir, and we're touring with Queensryche and Firewind. And I'll also be filming some more episodes on this tour, obviously, because it's a great place to get content because you're out on the road, you're traveling everywhere, you're a different city every day, different place. So I'm expecting to have probably at least another 15 episodes off that, So I'm going to have, probably somewhere around almost 30 episodes by the time the end of December comes. So
this is really awesome. Well, you could definitely gotta let me know because how I like to plug things,
Well, let's make sure that the time permits and all that. Let's check schedule. Maybe when I come to Berlin, you can look up a few vegan places, or I can as well. And maybe you and I can go out. We'll film an episode, you and I, of my Vegan Tour Diaries together.
That sounds good.
We'll cross promote your show. And
hey, this sounds really good. Even though I'm not a vegan, I'm sure they'll have a vegan steak for me.
Yeah, well, that's what's great about it too. You know, because the technology of veganism is really exploding right now. So I don't know. We can search to find what there is in Berlin, but you know, a lot of times, you know, I have some friends come over, and having become I call myself a vegan gourmet chef. I'll make my friends some food that aren't vegan. Like I'll make some burritos or something, you know, or tacos, you know, and I'll do vegan chicken tacos. You know, come over and I mean, 10 out of 10 times, my non-vegan friends eat this vegan food, and they're like, "Man, this is the best taco I've ever had in my life." You know, and it's vegan. So it just goes to show, you know, you don't have to become vegan to eat vegan food. A lot of times the food is so good, you can eat vegan occasionally. And, you know, it just kind of helps, you know, with the environment. It helps all kinds of things. It helps with the longevity of your life and the consciousness of, you know, love and care for animals and the planet, you know. So every little bit helps. And, you know, I'm not a preacher. I've never preached it to you. You and I have sat side by side while I ate a veggie burger and you ate a regular hamburger.
Save my soul. I'm at that point, you know, and you know, I'm open for it all, man. As long as it's something positive, and you're all about that, Mr. Black, my brother Black. So you know I'm down with it. So
totally.
Bam. This is really awesome, man. Hey, we're gonna cut to another tune over here. We're rocking out with Mr. Ira Black. This is Keno Mapp and Berlin, Germany. Artist for real, rocking out with Ira Black, and he's giving it to you live over his YouTube feed at the same time. Vegan Tour Diaries. Log into YouTube, check him out, see him live, and also just hold tight. We'll be right back.
All right. Yeah, it's cool. We do the best we can to stay on topic, but we also veer off a little bit here and there to get some of our what we feel are important points across and stuff. Like I keep saying, Keno's a really awesome human being, someone I've known for almost 20 years. I met him through Kathleen Stevenson, who used to help manage Vicious Rumors, and she helped me a lot back in the day in my career and stuff. So a shout out to Kathleen Stevenson. And yeah, so she introduced Keno and I, and trying to remember, I think he was getting his car worked on at the place that she managed, car shop. And the story goes is he was talking about how he wants to get into playing music, into the music business in the Bay Area and stuff. She goes, "Oh, you got to meet Ira Black, guitar player." And then within a minute or something, I literally walked in to the car shop because our rehearsal studio is right above there. We used to rehearse there. So I guess she was just talking about me, and I walked in. So it was like a nice serendipitous moment. Keno and I have a lot of those. One time he was going to Los Angeles, I guess, and he called me up on the phone, and he knew I was going to LA, but he called me up, and I'm like, hey, what's up, Keno? And he's like, yeah, I'm just arriving in LA, and you know, wanted to hook up and stuff. And I'm like, where are you at? He goes, oh, I'm on the 5, just coming over the Grapevine. I'm like, really? Where at? He's like, he names the exit. And then I look over, and he's in the car right next to me. It was incredible. We pulled over at the next stop just to say hi and give each other a hug and stuff. But yeah, so Keno and I always have that really awesome connection like that. Great human being, and it's great what he's doing with this Artist for Real thing he's doing now. I talked with him a while back about it, and sounded awesome. You know, he's trying to help. He wants to help musicians that are touring and stuff. You know, basically have some support and some how-to videos and a place where they can go to get some help if needed for the various aspects of being a musician and tour life and playing music and being a creative person and stuff like this. If you go to his website, you have to look up his name, Keno Mapp. I'm not sure if it's Artist for Real is the website. He has Artist for Real on Facebook. You can probably go there to get the link. But I saw his website a few weeks back, and he had different sections on there. I thought it was very interesting. Even goes into talking about relationships, you know, how it is for musicians when they have relationships and they're touring, stuff like that. So he's trying to provide support for all these different aspects of being a creative person, a musician, a traveling, touring person, because we have a lot of things that we go through. It's not a normal life, from the different ways that business is conducted, which isn't always on the up and up. Sometimes you have to jump through a lot of unnecessary hoops or do things or go through experiences that you didn't think you'd have to, people not following through on contracts, people flaking out on you, not paying you. For me, he's brought me into this because of my veganism. I've been vegan for a long time. As long as I've known him, I've been vegan. So he's seen me go through a lot of trials and tribulations, and also seeing me conquer it, and finding solutions and all that. So he really wanted to bring me aboard his whole thing to help give some support for vegans in the world. It is a very large trending thing now. When I first became vegan, not a lot of people knew what it is, and now it seems that a lot of people know about it now. It's because it's become a kind of a pop culture thing. It's if you look up the word vegan, it's trending a lot. Like I said, in England, it's trending like I've never seen it trend before. I mean, it's everywhere. Everyone knows what veganism is. They have some awesome restaurants now all over the world. Like I said, if you search it on your Maps app, vegan, you can be in almost any city in the world, and it will show you where some places are. And this is great. I admire Keno for taking on such a huge project like this. It's a big thing, and this could really help a lot of people. And I hope people tune into it and really gravitate towards it, because it's definitely needed. There's nothing wrong with reaching out to ask for some help for different things you don't know about. When it comes to touring, it's like anything goes in a way. So unfortunately, that means a lot of bad stuff happens as well. But there's also a lot of good stuff, and you can also turn the bad stuff into good stuff. So hopefully, using Keno's Artists for Real network that he's setting up will help you out. And you can also go to my Vegan Tour Diaries channel to see me reviewing vegan restaurants all over the world. And I talk about a lot of stuff in there as well, just, very similar things. So I'm going to call Keno back right now. Here we go.
On the topic of being a vegan, touring around the world, things that it takes, preparation. It sounds like a lot of patience, preparation, and although maybe the world in America is up to date, is a little bit more, getting more up to date with things. The rest of the world may not be there yet, but basically this conversation is to give you a little bit more information on how you can navigate through your, even not music, your dancer, your instigator, whatever, as a vegan. I'm sure you guys are all, guys and ladies are addressing the same type of problems out there. Not problems, but challenges. I don't like that word problem. I prefer to look at problems as challenges. When you say something's a problem, it seems like hard. When something's a challenge, it gives you a bigger window to understand that it's just something you got to navigate around.
Yeah, it's an opportunity to learn and to grow and to figure out a new solution. Yeah.
Exact. So remember that we don't have problems. We have challenges, and we're all smart enough to overcome all kind of challenges, I wanted to give another shout out to our Burning Man community, you burners out there. I love you very much, and the beautiful part of that, me saying I love you, is that I know you love me too. We grow like that. We're burners, so we like to hug each other. We like to encourage each other, support each other, and it's something that I pray spreads out more into the world in a whole. Where everyone starts to take in this sort of Burning Man mentality of love and compassion that we all have. So I wanted to just point that out, remind everyone that we don't have to wait until next year when Burning Man 2020 comes around to be involved, to act. You know, Burning Man is not something that's just once a year. It's something that's throughout the year. So in your area, you can find other burners. You can get involved with the community. You can get involved and contribute what your gift is. You know, you don't have to do music. Whatever your gift is, I found that in the Burning Man community, there is a place for you. And so take advantage of that. Don't think, oh, Burning Man is a big old party and we're just like raving and doing this. And no, Burning Man is not that. Burning Man is a community, man. And we contribute to the community. So don't wait till next year. You know, start with your own neighborhood. Start in your own being. What kind of person are you? You know, have character. You know, work on your character. Make sure your character is impeccable. Be a person of high value. Be a person of principle. Be a person of honesty. Be a person that respects other people, other things. You know, this is what we all individually should always work on. If you're not a burner, I'm going to teach you how to be a burner. So start there, you know.
And then you party responsibly.
Yeah, you're responsible. You know, people, I want you to be just fair. We're in a world that's not really fair. So be fair to everyone. And when you notice, if you ever notice that you have any ill thoughts about other people, catch that. I call those poison thoughts. Catch your poison thoughts and get it out of your head right away. Okay, so that's Keno. You know me, I got to do a little heart touch there. But I'm here with Ira Black, LA. You just had your guitar, man. Pick that guitar up. You're going to play a little note? Yeah. So I'm here with the incredible Ira Black, who's one of the most phenomenal guitar players in the world, just to let you know. And I'm going to let him pick. He got his guitar, so I don't know how the sound's going to come across, but I'm going to let him get down a little bit.
Just a little something. Just a little something, you know.
Hey man, that just reminded me we were like driving to Lucas Valley and you had that itty bitty guitar and we wrote a song.
That's
Remember,
right.
by the time we got there,
Yep.
man, we were stuck in traffic and we wrote The World's Lost This Way.
That's right.
Yeah, that was badass, man. I couldn't believe that. That itty bitty guitar you had.
That's right. Yeah.
What kind of guitar is that? What do they call it? A half size what?
Yeah. I think it was a half or 3/4 size guitar. Yeah.
That was hilarious. But then we made a beautiful song out of that.
Totally.
That little road trip from San Francisco to Lucas Valley. Amazing what can happen while you're stuck in traffic, you know?
Totally. Now, I don't know if you already did this before we started the show, though. Why don't you give me so you can say it on my YouTube channel as well. Just give me, a quick little synopsis of why you're doing Artists for Real. Like what is it that you're doing and why are you doing it?
Okay. Hey, Artists for Real. Okay, so Artists for Real is this thing that I came up with, and actually, the name someone told me sounds arrogant, and I'm like, it does sound a little arrogant, Artists for Real, but I think it was sort of taking it out of context because I just believe that from working with so many artists over the years, I have noticed the different challenges that we artists go through, and these are things that are not really talked about. It's talked about amongst musicians, that have experienced it, and they're sort of veteran musicians that have experienced different things. It's not the typical things that people talk about. People talk about where are you playing at, what's your instrument, what's your next album, what's your next song, what are you wearing? So these issues, and that's super, as far as I'm concerned, as a professional musician. It's not the real stuff that happened behind the scenes, which makes us musicians grow to be better and better. So I came up with the idea: if you want to be an artist for real, on top of being able to, to music and to exercise your craft, you have to know the business side of things. You have to know of the different challenges that come up, and you have to be able to navigate through them. And if you're not a professional musician and ever been put in these situations, you would never know. And you have to, like all of us, we've learned as we went. We learned as we go. Like almost everything that's happened, I mean, we learned as we went along. And I feel like it doesn't have to be like that. Or for younger musicians, especially, because a lot of things are so hard, you can get depressed and you can quit just from something so simple of having a relationship and doing your music. And next thing you know, you lose your girl because you got a concert and you don't know what to do. Or, you got a promoter that's like kicking your butt and you don't understand you don't know why. You don't understand. You have a show and you only got 20 people that showed up and you don't know why. Or you have a contract presented to you, which I've experienced too many artists in the contract situation where they signed bad deals. They just were too excited to get a deal and didn't understand when that contract was the table, what that really entailed. I mean, these are just a few situations I'm speaking of.
So basically, your concept is that you've broken down the music business and all the things you go through, basically from A to Z. You're trying to kind of break it down into these components and then find ways to have solutions for these and bring people in that are experts and people to help you, kind of guy like you brought Angelo on to talk about contracts and dealing with contracts with venues and agreements that you make and the different pitfalls he's gone through. And maybe other people can listen to this so they can kind of learn from it. You brought me in because I'm, the consummate vegan of all time, that's been touring, doing it for a long time. So I can help guide people. You got relationships, like you brought up relationship. You're going to talk about how it is to be an artist or a creative person or a touring musician. What's it like to navigate through your relationships in life, whether it's your girlfriend or your kids, whatever, so you're basically giving support for all these different aspects of, so that makes sense. Artists for real, like what do they go through for real? What's the real side of it too? There's a lot of different ways you can look at it. When you told me that, I automatically went to you explained to me and I'm like, well, that makes sense. That what's the reality of touring? There's the fantasy version of what all this stuff is. And, some people do actually hit these levels where they're living, I lived up in the Hollywood Hills before. I had a 5,000 square foot house. I've done all that too, so it's like you hit these different levels. Some people make, $100 million. What is their life like at that level? And then trickling all the way down. Even if you had $100 million in the bank, trust me, there's people that still have a hard time with their relationships when they're on tour.
Exactly.
Because the human nature of things is always going to trump money, fame, all that stuff. You get home and your wife's like, I don't care how many autographs you signed last night, or if your album's at number 1, can you take out the garbage? It's full, and you're like, you have that reality check on yourself. You're getting ready to hit the stage. Yeah, you're a multi-gazillionaire. You're playing in front of 30,000 people. You're getting ready to hit the stage. And your wife calls you like, who the fuck's that? That you fucking took that picture with that got posted. Like, I was just a fan. I'm going on stage right now. No, you better stay on this phone and talk with me until we're done. So
nightmare. I've been in those situations, man, right getting ready to get on stage. And if you never experienced getting ready to get on stage and having Wicked Wahini blasting you in your ear it's hardcore because when you go on stage, you have to perform, and that's a different reality than the normal. So I and myself, we don't try to act like rock stars. We don't try to walk around with our star status on our sleeve and everything. So most people probably don't even know this of us. But in reality, we're that. We're rockers. We are entertainers. We're professionals, and we understand that, it takes a lot. And really with artists for real, I don't feel like other artists need to go through that. And that they're going to go through different issues naturally, but then it sort of gives a little cushion to it if they understand what to really realistically expect. Then they could be like, oh, okay. So instead of me having like an instance with in a relationship or whatever, you can, you take that upon yourself and say, okay, how can I make my partner feel 100% comfortable with even, she knows I do music, but what can I do to empower that person to feel fine? So they're just trying to blast me right before I get on stage.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll give a quick disclaimer. My girl Jessica Chase, my fiance, she's incredible. She's very supportive and stuff. But maybe about 5 or 6 years ago, I can't remember. She was trying to talk to me about like some bills that need to be paid. We were on the way to a show. I was getting ready to play, and we were kind of getting a little bit heated. We always get along. We're just and I looked at her and I said, listen, please just understand this. And sometimes it's about defining boundaries and find the best times that when you can deal with things. I looked at her and said, you know what, honey, if it's a show day, I'm probably getting warmed up. I probably got a lot on my mind. Like, you'd be a lot better to talk to me just about anything the day after a show, the day before a show, but on the day of a show, especially for driving to the place, like to talk to me about anything except for like just praise me and say how awesome I am, because that's what I need. It's like, and because you just help give me this like, okay, I'm getting ready to go do this thing, because it takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of this. You have to take your soulful energy and push forward. You don't want to bombard your mind with some bill that's due or some issue that she wants to talk about or whatever. So even to this day, she's always followed through on it. Thank God. She heard me loud and clear. I said, if you get one thing, just understand on a show day, don't talk to me about anything deeper than just what's on the level, like how awesome the show is going to be, how if you want to help me, let me fix your shirt for you, your hair's out of, like, just help me, on a show day. Do not talk to me about a bill or an issue or anything, because I'm not going to be present, and it's just going to turn into argument. I'm going to be like putting you off. I'm not going to hear you. I'm not going to want to hear about it, So she's followed through, and that's been a blessing. She always talks about it as well to other musicians and their spouses. She'll bring that up like all the time, because she's noticed how it's worked with us. Great. Like,
oh yeah, she's so awesome. Just as so. I mean, it actually, that just made a little light go out in my head. I have to invite Jess on the show, and maybe she can come in with give a woman's perspective on what it's like to be with a musician and something of this caliber. So we can talk about that later. But
she's also in the industry as well. She's does promotions, PR, and social media, and she's actually one of the producers now for our Ultimate Jam Night show. We've been doing for 5 years now. It's a celebrity jam we have at the Whiskey now. We have 40 to 50 artists.
Whiskey a go-go.
Yeah, Whiskey a go-go. Every Tuesday, we have 40 to 50 celebrity artists play with us every single Tuesday. And she's one of the producers. She books the artists and does all the online promotions. So she's become very well connected and deals with a lot of stuff. She knows all about it now, So she's in the heat of it. So you can talk to her and get her perspective on a lot of stuff as well.
Oh yeah, I definitely got to invite her on the show. But I mean, it's just, and going back to artists for real, man. That's what it's all about. These are real issues, and me and you, we're brothers forever, man. And we can chop it up about these issues, and we're always one-on-one, eye to eye with it. And I'm just really happy to be able to share this with other people that really don't. I mean, I can't. It's strange to realize that this world that we live in, Black, is like a totally different world than what general public lives in. It's very far away. The things that we are talking about, I don't think that, or I don't feel like they really, it's not that they can't imagine it. It's just it's never been introduced. And it's not something that's commonly spoken of, you know?
Yeah.
So it's good. I think Artists for Real is a good little mechanism to give people some insight. I've been building a website, people, so I'll have it out there pretty soon where, you know, we can actually get into one-on-one consulting. We can go ahead and address these issues in more detail, and I can connect you with people like Ira for different topics, you know. So that's all in the works right now. So we're not trying to take over the world. We're just trying to help it.
Yeah,
you know,
perfect.
Well
put.
This is something beautiful, you know. I think so, Mr. Black. Our time is running out, which I'm bummed out about. But at the same time, I'm stoked because I'm going to get to see you pretty soon, you know?
I think you said, yeah, I'll have you on for 15 or 20 minutes. I'm like, yeah, right. 2 hours later.
2 hours later. Well, this is really cool, man. Hey, for our listeners out there, I hope that you guys are able to appreciate it as much as I am able to, and I'm sure Ira is able to appreciate as well. Hey, man, let the people know where you're going to be in Berlin and around. Let everybody know how can they find you, how can they get to you, and all of that.
Okay, so on the upcoming tour, let's see here. Let me look at the flyer. Can you hear me still?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so in Berlin, we're playing at the SO36 Club in Berlin. SO36. Club SO36. So that's letter S. It might be letter O or number O. I can't tell. I think it's maybe letter O. SO36, SO36. Yeah. But you can go on the Queensryche Facebook page and check it out. Or it's we're touring Queensryche and Firewind. My band is Dark Sky Choir.
How are you spelling Queensryche?
It's one word, QUEENSRYCHE. And my band is Dark Sky Choir. You can go to our Facebook page and get all the information there as well.
Sweet. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, hey, guys out there, check it out. Check out Mr. Ira Black. Get on these pages and love it up, okay? And also go to Vegan Tour Diaries. Love that up. Click it.
Subscribe it to it.
And if you guys have subscribe, if you have any questions, reach out. You know, we're very reachable people. You know, I mean, our hearts are in the same place. This is all about supporting the community, supporting other artists, because through that support, it only encourages your art. You know, and we understand from our experiences how it feels to not be encouraged, and how it feels to be alone. You know, so we want you to know that you're not alone. You know, and if you have any questions at all, definitely reach out. Like I said, I'm going to get a website up very soon, so you guys will always have access to me and able to get at me and address any issues that are on your mind. You know, I mean, any issues. So I think I'm pretty lovey-dovey like that. I don't bite. So, yeah, this is really great. Mr. Ira Black, I love you so much, brother.
Love you too, brother.
Thank you so much for this. Tell Jess I'm going to reach out to her.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah, that would be very cool, man. Well, thank you so much. Be safe out there. I send you big energy with those fires and all of that good stuff.
Yeah, thank you. I'll see you in about 3 weeks. Thanks for having me on. And Ours for Real. Check it out, everybody, and we'll be talking soon, brother.
Cool. And I'm going to end tonight with playing that song that Ira and I wrote on the road from San Francisco to Lucas Valley. Awesome. So you guys check it out. It's actually one of my favorite songs called The World's Lost Its Way and I Miss You. And this is probably pretty much the state of where our planet is at right now. So make sure you guys keep doing your part. Make sure you guys don't give up. And remember that if nobody told you today that they loved you, let me tell you, I love you. And we'll wrap with you later. We'll see you next week. Thanks for joining.
All right, brother. Very cool. All right, that was great. Just wrapped up the interview with Keno Mapp and his Artists for Real. Go check out his page on Facebook. Follow there. And if anyone needs any guidance or wants to interject with comments and stuff, with solutions, questions or solutions, answers, whatever, feel free to. Thanks for joining us here, joining me on my Vegan Tour Diaries YouTube channel. This is my first live stream, so hopefully it was a success for everyone. You enjoyed it, and we will talk soon. Vegan Tour Diaries. Share it and subscribe it.